Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Traders Around the World. Welcome to your live trading morning with yours truly. We're going to start off with a pre-market briefing, move into live trading fire and analytics, and then, of course, we'll learn the lessons on the day. I'm hopeful, Gus, that it is going to be a great day today. We've got a very interesting response to a weaker jobs print that came out. The jobs number came in at around 57,000 versus a consensus estimate of about 115 or somewhere there and abouts. And the market shot up on that. It's retraced a good chunk of the up already. And the question mark that we're going to have to answer at the end of the day is whether or not this market is a market that wants to continue rising to higher highs, or is it going to conform to our flight paths, which have been extraordinarily accurate on the week overall, a little eerily too accurate. So perhaps this is the day it breaks. But I'm quite hopeful that everyone is doing very well. Looking very much forward to navigating markets here and trading them with you over this market morning. Give me a lucky number 7 in the chat and let me know that you are good to go from an AV standpoint, and we're going to get the show on the road. So I'm seeing the 7s fly by. Looks like folks are booted up in all areas. Looks good and great. Amazing. All right, folks, let's get started. So everything that I do and say here is for education and insight purposes only. It's not meant as advice. I am not a registered financial advisor or representative. You must consult yours before making any trading decisions. Trading involves risk, not just reward. Risk of loss. Trade with money you can wholly afford to lose. When I trade, it's always in line with my risk trading plan, which is unique to me and might not be suitable to you. So do consult your registered financial advisor and get a risk trading plan. Now, when I discuss past trades taken, do live trades in front of you, come up with potential future trades and projections, whether I'm doing so with respect to a live cash account, a demo account, or a prop trading account. It's all done for education and insight purposes only. It's not meant as advice. Finally, if I poll you in the chat and I give you an average response back to that poll, the sentiment there is not necessarily indicative of the sentiment of the entire group, just those responding. I don't audit the chat, so do take that stuff as anecdotal. A very good morning. Good morning, everyone. Let's get going. For folks that, Teresa, I see that you're having some issue with charts. You should be seeing a legal notice on the screen right now. If you don't see that, then please do refresh your platform. But we are streaming and up and ready to go. And let's get right into it, folks. So the first thing that I want to do is take you over to look at the major plain clothes charts before we even take a look at the multi-time frame dashboard over here. So I'm just going to pull across on your screen a chart of the S&P 500, the S&P E-minis. We're going to start there and get a sense of what the primary market is telling us. We know that the ES has maintained an uptrend channel. The NASDAQ broke it and trended down from about the 30th. It broke that downtrend this morning. So let's get right into where we are located. So this chart are daily bars of the primary market, the S&P E-minis, going back to the beginning of May, effectively. And what you've got on screen over here is what could be a topping pattern, could be a head and shoulders pattern. We could be in a complicated right shoulder, or it could just be a simple sideways range, could be a coil getting ready to burst up higher. There's too many options. In order to narrow down what's likely to happen, we look at long-term market cycles, shorter-term cycles, valuation, the behavior of the major stocks, a behavior of how the index is responding to major undercurrents, and we come up with a couple of options on how the week is likely to play out. Not certainly, but likely to play out. So you've seen me bring up these flight paths before. They're done for the primary market, the S&P E-minis. And then everything else is kind of interrelated or correlated with that. So what do we have happening over here? Plan B. We evaluated that it was Plan B that we are in as of Monday. So we saw the Sunday night thrust up through a key waterline in the 74-75 area. We got a wobble in that area, exactly on point with Plan B. We shot up on Tuesday. We had indecision with the beginning of a turn down on Wednesday. We did pull back. We pushed up again. We pulled back. We pushed up again. And now we're back up. We pushed up again today. And the question mark now is, are we actually going to make that turn and have a spill in the market, or is the seasonality of the Independence Day holiday week going to kick in, or other positive undercurrents going to come into play? Well, the number one thing that I can say is the reaction to the jobs data was backwards. It's not something that makes great sense if you look at it, right? We got a weaker print and the market went up on it. Well, why is that? The market actually, is leaning into some of the comments that Warsh made yesterday that lean more dovish. Warsh is the FOMC chair, the Federal Reserve chair. He's the replacement for Jerome Powell, for those who are not aware, and he sets the value of the dollar at the end of the day. So what is the market telling us? Well, when the market got the jobs data at 8:30 in the morning, it shot up. We'll actually look at that through a 5-minute chart lens over here. That shoot up happened right over there. That was that bar right there. We pushed up towards the center of this uptrend channel that the ES has been in since the evening of the 25th of June. But we weren't able to get through the center. We weren't able to get above the highs of the session. And we've pulled back down into a level of support where I would expect us to bounce, the 75.55 area. And let's see if this bounce can take us back up. We'd have to get up through the 75.80 area to really open the door for upside. But why did the market go up, and does it still have the potential to go up? Well, we have to look at currencies and rates to really explain that. I'll make it very simple. What you're seeing is the market pricing in the potential for a rate cut sooner than later, effectively. So a bad labor market print means that there's going to be less disposable income, less consumption, and it can end up lowering, you don't get to full employment with high interest rates, usually. You might be at full employment when the interest rates get taken higher, but we're at a spot right now where inflation risks have come down because of oil. Warsh doubled down on that comment, of course, yesterday. And the data that came out today, the jobs data that came out today, is negative enough to, double down, triple down on that, if you will, and effectively say to the world that, hey, labor market's weak, inflation risks are lower, they can cut rates probably sooner than later. So what happened to the euro? It shot up. The euro is the other side of the dollar. So when the euro shoots up, it's up about 0.6%. It was up a little bit more than that, about 0.75% or there and abouts a little earlier. When the euro shoots up, the dollar goes down. And effectively, rate cuts mean lower dollar. So the market's trying to price in the idea of a rate cut sooner than later. Guess what? The market doesn't know that that's going to happen. But the euro's popped up. There was some short squeezing over here. And we ended up getting a whack-a-mole down on the dollar. And precious metals have responded positively to this. Obviously, so did the equity markets. So here's silver, for example. It's up currently about 3.5%, just shy of that. There's some opportunity for long side trades up to 63.70. However, the equity market really is the most important leading indicator. It's a discounting mechanism. It tries to price in what's happening 6 to 9 months in the future into now. I think that window is a little smaller, 3 to 6 months at this stage, but effectively the market's saying it believes a rate cut's going to happen sooner than later, within the next 3 to 6 months, which is not the likely outcome, but that's what the market wants to do today. And silver and gold are rallying on that. The euro is rallying on that. The dollar is falling on that, and equities have popped on that. But the equity indices, the equity major benchmarks, are the leading edge of risk. And they're the ones that have to tell us that, yeah, the future is going to be brighter by pointing up and staying pointed up. So we might have a problem with that. We did pop up during the job sprint, but we pulled back. And we know that the NASDAQ is the weaker of the two markets. So albeit, looks good on silver right now for intraday longs and continuation longs. Looks good right now on gold as well for intraday longs as well. However, I don't see them as swing worthy just as of yet. If we've got the equity markets that are the most important of the in the globe, really, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 continuing to rise, I don't have a problem with pressing on with long side trades on precious metals. So what we're seeing right now at the hard right edge is a move up of about 0.4% on the S&P E-minis. If you look at it carefully, we're inside yesterday's indecision range. Okay, but we have come up above a couple of water lines, 75.43, 75.55. So this area should act as support, but below 43, there's one last lip of support at around 37. and the door then can open for us to come back to the original waterline for the week, which is in the 74.75 area, something that we emerged up and above Sunday night, Monday during cash hours, and then followed through after back testing on Tuesday. We pulled back just like that double top in the forecasted flight paths, shared with you. We pulled back, came down to the lower 7,500s, pushed up inside the day, pushed back down during the day yesterday, and now we're pushing up again. I think we are in this part of the move. What we need to determine is whether or not we're going to get that spill, or are we just going to levitate, hold up, and wait for more digestion of data with more volume after the holiday weekend is over, and then see a spill? I don't know the answer to that question. I'm leaning to yes, the spill is likely to happen, whether it be today or in light futures trades starting at 6 p.m. tonight, going to about 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow on July the 3rd, or perhaps Sunday night. In any case, we have to deal with what's here right now. So what's here right now really is a market that is trying to hold above water lines that it has gotten back up above in today's session, right? Yesterday, we got up to highs midday around the 75, 78-ish area. We pulled back from that area into the close. We didn't make lower lows. We pushed up again in the evening and tried to get through the 75, 55-ish area. We weren't able to. We came back down and made a lower low. And then really from Eurozone session open onwards, we started a little modest uptrend off of this basing formation, and it kicked into high gear leading into 830, and then 830 took us over the top. It took us above that area. So this is now the battleground. 75.55 is the battleground for the S&P E-minis. And the NASDAQ, as much as you want to see the NASDAQ lead, it's been lagging, right? It's had a more negative go over the week, into the back half of the week. We saw the same positivity on Sunday night, Monday, same positivity on Tuesday, okay? And then we got the push down, and it did not close up near highs. It closed near its lows yesterday. And then, of course, we've got the indecision print in play as it sits right now. If we take a look at the 5-minute chart of the NQ, we broke that uptrend channel from late on June the 25th. We were in a downtrend that has been broken. Okay, it has been broken, but we're still struggling to hold above water lines that can keep the NASDAQ up in the air and keep it being bought. So you've got this market that's configured to go higher. The macro tethers to the market, things like the euro, rates, precious metals, commodities, they're all supportive of up. But why isn't the equity market holding up? Because pricing in the chance of a rate cut sooner than later is not a good enough reason ahead of earnings in a holiday market week to go up and away and stay up and away. The smart money will probably be fading that. If rate cut's going to happen, it's going to require consecutive data points over a quarter at a bare minimum, telling us that we've got a real labor market issue and inflation's not a concern. At that point, we then have a much better than fair chance for a rate cut to take place. Right now, I think it's a false positive. I hope that that message is fairly clear. And what does this all amount to? The pop on jobs has dropped, and it might not be able to recover. I'm expecting it to try a bounce out of the gates. We'll have an echo of what happened at 8:30, but I don't know. I don't think that it's likely going to stay up in the air. So here's a multi-time frame view of the primary market using some technical tools. Okay, the 1 hour chart is the boss for the day trader. It tends to forecast out the next 3 to 6 hours. What is it telling us? We're in a buy signal state. What's the 5-minute chart telling us? It's in a weakened buy signal state, and it's dangling above this MSR channel, the moving support and resistance channel over here. The bottom of the channel is sitting at 75.50. If we come down below 75.50, there's going to be some trouble. And there might be some short side trades. The 1-minute chart of the ES right now is in a sell signal state. It's getting a little more oversold. Markets have started ticking away for cash hours. And I want to see if that echo presents itself. The NASDAQ's certainly not seeing that echo. This is the same sort of chart just set up for the NQ. I've just got it in dark mode over here. And you can see that the NQ on the 1 hour time frame is has reversed pretty much the entirety of the last 1 hour bar. and is starting to move into, evacuating its buy signal state and potentially move into a sell signal state on a 5-minute chart. Now, the 1 hour forecasts out 3 to 6 hours, the 5-minute forecasts out 20 to 90 minutes, and the 1-minute chart's the trigger chart. So what I'm looking at is the 5-minute chart out of the gates. I want to see if the signal that presents on the first 5-minute bar is a signal of destroying the prior buy signal. We'd have to come down and see the NASDAQ close below 30,030 points, which is an important level for the NQ. You can see that on the plain clothes chart over here with the key levels and volume profile. It might not seem as plain clothes, but we've basically got levels and structures on this chart. And you can see a volume point of control sitting right there at 30,030 points. Where does that come from? It comes from all the way back over here on the 17th of June. So that becomes the battleground that we have to deal with right now. If we're able to come back up above the DeMark resistance 1 weekly pivot level, 30,170 roughly, okay, the door is back open again for us to rise and see the NQ try to eat its way up through yesterday's red bar. It tried already, it's failed so far. Okay, so let's see the market for what it is right now. The first 5-minute bar is still in progress. It is not completed as of yet. It's still in progress. And I know folks like the side-by-side view. So I'm going to bring that up because what I want to effectively do is use the NASDAQ as an indication for whether the whole market is going to hold up. And let's get that going right now. Let's see if I can do that right now properly for you. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to have to compress some of the charts over here. So bear with me for just a moment. Yeah, okay, I think that should be pretty good. So we've got effectively our 1-minute and 5-minute chart on the ES, which still says it's holding up, right? It's above the 1-minute chart MSR channel. It's in a buy signal state on a 5-minute chart. And we were just looking at it on the 1 hour time frame a moment ago. It's still in a buy signal state, still above the speed lines, still above the channel, which is rising. All of this is good still. Now, is the NQ going to cooperate? Well, let's do the same sort of thing that I did on the ES for the NQ here. Get the 5-minute and the 1-minute side by side. The first 5-minute bar breached a buy signal structure. That's the champion trend buy zone, but it has not closed below it. It has not broken it. It's breached it. The 1-minute chart's still in a sell state. It's a little oversold. And I'm waiting to see whether or not this wants to continue pressing down. But they're going in different directions, as you can clearly see. Right, the NASDAQ's trying to go down. The ES is getting bid up. And of course, there are going to be areas like base metals, precious metals, industrials, things that are not necessarily Mag 7 related, not semiconductor related, that are going to get a little bit more loving. And they are more represented in the S&P E-minis than they are in the NASDAQ, if at all. So here we are with the NQ now starting to cooperate a bit, trying to come up. The ES is trying to push up, and I'm looking at a long side trade above the highs here at 68, 69, somewhere in that territory. I want to make sure that the NQ does not poison pill the move. The NQ is still not emerged above resistive structures on a 1-minute chart. So, we have to be very careful. The first 5-minute bar is still in motion right now. It's still got another, 40 seconds to go before its lifespan is over. And so far, it's holding the buy signal structures. It's trying to get above the speed lines, get above 30,140. And the NQ is saying, yeah, it can support the continued rise of the ES. The ES is the stronger market. I'd rather trade it long. I'd like to have the NQ in this intermarket analysis help me trade the ES long if it's able to get through resistance. And it's trying to right now. My finger's on the buy trigger right now. I have not depressed it yet. I'm waiting now for the end of this 5-minute bar. The first 5-minute bar to expire. There it is. And the next bar is starting off positive on the ES to indecisive to red. So no buy decision just as of yet. But this could be simply a pause waiting to see the NQ break through. I think that that's the likely outcome based on the pattern. It's going to try to poke its hairs above. I'm taking on a long. So I've taken on my first long side trade. So far, it's out of the money. I want to make sure that I protect myself here because if the NQ starts to just unravel at this stage, it's going to bust the trade. The trade's in force. It's up now. It's up $150. I'm at the 15, 16 second mark. Need to get to about 20 seconds to have the trade count. And I'm there and I'm taking some profit and I'm going to do the trade again above the highs. But I didn't like the reversal that I saw over there. So I got some profit out of it. But obviously, I need to see the NQ really want to cooperate. If it's going to push up again, I can try the trade again. But this time, I'd like to see a 1 minute bar actually close above roughly 30,160 on the NQ before I'm willing to actually take the trade. Because this thing could turn around. And if it wants to turn around, it can become harsh, like we're seeing. Now, folks, I want to do a quick temperature check of traders in the room, make sure that folks are doing all right. So first trade of the day, profitable. I think it was about a half a point of profit or so. Nothing too epic, but now that one's done, we're looking for the next one. The ES is trying to continue higher, but the NQ is still a potential risk to suck it back down and pull it back down. So at this stage, I want to see if the NQ can break through the 30,160 area to give me either a trade long on the NQ or more likely a continuation long trade on the ES. So it's attempting again, has not come up through it just yet. And of course, let me know. Okay, so let's go and see how this is working. I'm waiting. I'm seeing it push through. I am going to try it intrabar. So I'm trying it intrabar. I'm in the trade, intrabar. It's not confirmed it yet, right? It poked its hairs through. So this is, again, a little riskier. I've not seen it close through the structures. Fingers on the trigger to get out if it does not want to cooperate. But the NQ has got that indecision print on the 1 minute chart, trying to push up through the top of the MSR channel. It's in position to do so, but it has not done so just as of yet. And I may end up having to take an L on this trade if it does not want to reassert itself. So I'm looking for a bounce right there. If it happens, it gives me the opportunity to see this trade work and perhaps some profit drops from the trade. But if it breaches the speed lines, especially the bottom of its channel at around 30,120, I got to get out of the way then. So my finger's on the trigger to get out of the way now. I have to get out of the way. Why? Risk management and following your rules is going to protect your P&L. I saw it breach. The NASDAQ poison pilled the ES from being able to go higher. Is the ES trending up from the open? Yeah, it is. Okay. Why didn't it continue? Well, in the pressure that the NASDAQ is facing was great enough to pull and submerge the ES back down. And that's what happened. And now the NQ is taking a dump. It is dashing. It's like dashing into the dumpster, or dumpster diving, if you will. It's fallen so fast so far that I am certainly very happy that my risk management principles kept me out of the way. Let's see over here. I see some questions on what NQ, why not ES, any logic or personal preference. Everything in markets are interconnected. Everything in markets are interconnected. So for the folks who are asking that type of question, it really is all about understanding the entire web of the interconnections and where the pressure points are on the day, where they are structurally, and where they are on the day overall. So let's go and see whether or not the NQ is going to actually get out of the dumpster, and we can rush into it or not. So ES again is very motile, right? 8-10 points range on a 1 minute bar or more is pretty dramatic. And it is still the open. It is not yet matured enough to set a pattern in, but we know we were uptrending, right? That's the 8:30 a.m. Eastern time 5 minute bar. We trended up to it. We didn't quite get above yesterday's high, which is around 75, 78. And we're trying to push back up towards it right now. So the obvious is the obvious, right? If the ES breaks the high, a long can work out. If one takes on a long and watches the NASDAQ struggle and not able to emerge through resistance on a 1 minute chart, bad things can happen. But hey, the market is continuing to try to push up here. And I'm considering another entry, but at this stage, I want to be really careful with it. I want to be very, very careful with it and pick my spots. So at this stage, I'm waiting. I've already had my go at it. The ES has come up higher. All right, it has come up higher. It's come up towards the high that we had back here at 937. It's trying to poke above there right now. The NQ is trying to push up again. But again, it's more in a downtrend. We can see that on the 5-minute chart. So let's just be very, very clear with the location, right? That's 8:30 a.m. Eastern time on the NQ. That's 8:30 a.m. Eastern time on the ES. The ES turned around right back up. The downtrend after the 8:30 a.m. pop did not turn around on the NQ. It's trying. And this looks very trappy to me. It doesn't look like a great trading moment. I'm sure someone can extract something out of it, but I am going to have to wait, right? I already had my kick at the can. I did it on the 9:37 a.m. bar or there and abouts, and we weren't able to follow through. The NASDAQ gave in, and I avoided a 10, 11 point drop, on the S&P E-minis. Risk manage myself out of it. Now, can we see the NQ take us up and above 30,150 and give us a reason for up and away? We'll see. And you're exactly on point, Simon. This is another day where we're going to have to juggle the two, right? We're also juggling some of the macro tethers to the market, which I'm looking at on another screen. It's the euro and the NASDAQ that really have to be watched in order to help with directional trading decisions on the day today. And the euro is kind of following the NASDAQ more closely than it is the ES. The ES is out on its own. And the NQ now is trying to bust above resistance. I'm considering another entry, but I'm not comfortable yet. I'd like to see the NQ, get above 30,160, see some time spent above there. Okay, I want to see it firm up rather than have the ES pull it up, right? Because each time the ES pulls it up, it still acts like a drag at resistive structures and pulls everything right back down again. And hello to those who are saying hello and logging in now. I just caught some of those comments in the chat, and I hope everyone's doing well. And exactly, it is a Borkar. It is a crazy, crazy volatility. It is crazy. And I had to exit immediately, right? Pretty much immediately, because the risk management rule that I was following got triggered. And following the rules tends to keep the P&L going. Okay, here we go. So we're now above the highs. We're about to hit that 75.80 marker. We've perforated it. The NQ is now taken out the 30,160 marker. Next challenge line is 30,192. If it directly goes through there, I've probably missed my opportunity to enter, and I'd be chasing it if I enter here. For those who have taken on the long as the NQ's moved up, good on you. Maintaining it right now versus profit taking, I would be of the opinion that profit is to be taken until we see NQ above 30,190. So either or, if the NQ has been traded or the ES has been traded on the long side, until we get above that next marker, it is a profit-taking moment for very short-term day traders. I'm starting to see a little curl back up on the euro that's conforming to the move with the NASDAQ, but I'm still very concerned about the NASDAQ's inability to breathe in this rarefied air. And Anaskatri, I think I'm probably butchering your handle. You write in, I thought today is a bearish day. Well, yeah, I'm not walking away from that insight, right? I've forecasted an outcome, but it's not like a magician, predicting. It is a likely outcome. It's a plan. So we're trying to determine whether or not we're in this part of plan B. And are we going to have that slip? Or are we going to bust the flight path and gravitate up to the 7,600 or higher area? 7,600 to 7,625 would be the next zone higher if we are going to bust my flight paths. And look, it's not strange if they get busted. It's been eerie how well Plan B has forecasted out the market this week. So I'm not going to walk away from it until I have reason. We're getting close to those reasons presenting, getting close. But close is not a signal, right? The ES, as I was showing it to you earlier, maintained that uptrend channel from late in the evening on the 25th of June. Okay, the NASDAQ broke its channel, right? The NASDAQ broke its channel and got goosed up through the jobs print. after coming back to the real big danger line for the week, right? Which is what we got emerged above on Monday during cash hours. That was the 29,820 marker. So what I'm looking at right now is the primary market, the S&P, the benchmark, the more balanced index is doing better than the NQ is. It's got things that the NQ does not have in it, and it's come to a very critical place, the center of the channel, which is the most important structure. It's the road that the market has paved that it's riding on for this week. So the center of this channel is a place where it opens up the upside, the upper half. It's a best fit line. It's not an average. It's a linear regression line. Above the center of that channel, which is 75.80, it opens up room to 7,600 to potentially 7,625. Okay, so we're at that area, and what's the problem? The problem is the NASDAQ, right? So I came to you in advance and said, hey, until the NASDAQ's back above 190, it's profit taking on that last pop. I hope that helped protect those of you that are in positions and are managing positions up into that territory. Feel free to let me know. And I'm just reading through a couple of comments in the chat. Oh yeah, so some great changes have come into play, Ruth Ann, on the Wealth Charts app. So lots of stuff has been added on to make the functionality great. So I got my dose of it early this morning and got familiar with it, and it effectively makes things easier once you've reconfigured yourself. So I'm happy that it actually happened because it gives a lot more functionality. You can add a lot more functionality in on the trading area. So there's a lot of functionality over there. And of course, on the sidebar, the dome can be opened up, at will really easily. All right. It can just get popped up really easily for folks who like to trade off the dome itself. So it's pretty cool, the improvements that have been made and the additions that have been made. It'll take a little getting used to for those that need to, of course. Okay, here we go again. Here we grow again. Okay, so this time I'm going to take it. I'm taking it because we're above the 80 marker. Okay, I know the risks here are high. I know the NASDAQ has not come up above 190, but we're making another stand. Trades profit positive. I'm only in for about 13 seconds so far. I'm not looking for to be here for a very long time, but I'd like to hit the 20-second marker and get some profit out of this trade like that. So I took 100. Actually, I have to flatten that out right now. Took about 100 in profit on that last trade. Not bad. Now, let's see if it can bust through the 190 marker. If it can bust through the 190 marker, we then have something more to work with at this stage. And it looks like we're trying. Okay, so that looks pretty good, but I do want to see it actually happen, right? I actually want to see it happen. And if it takes us above there, I'm going to expand the ES chart right now. Okay, I'm going to expand the ES chart right now for a moment because I do want to get a little view in here that includes the 1 hour time frame. And I want to see where the location of the triple S indicator is. I've got the ES on another screen, the NQ on another screen. It's at 3191, 190. And it may give me the opportunity to trade it long and or the ES on the backs of it, but it's just popped its hairs above. It's just popped its hairs above, and one wants to be very careful because it's volatile enough that you can get whipsawed. Okay, so at this stage, I'll flip you back to the side-by-side view. Just want to do one more little temperature check over here on the 4 hour chart. Buy signal state is in force tentatively on the current live 4 hour bar. So it's a tentative signal, but now we're in this fully aligned state, right? You've got the state now where the daily 4 hour, 1 hour, 5 minute, 1 minute on the ES are all in buy signal status at this moment in time, which is pretty darn cool. Let's see where my NQ chart disappeared to. Let's get that back up on screen. There it is. Okay. Oh, I had them on the wrong side. Okay. So let's just move this bad boy over. We'll put them over there and we'll put this one over here. And we're through the 190 marker. Okay. We're through the 190 marker. We haven't closed above it, but we've pushed far enough above it. Is it time to try an NQ trade at this stage or not? And I'm considering it. I am considering it at this moment in time. The ES is also in a bull flag on the 1 minute time frame. It's above the center of the channel that started on the 25th in the evening. It's taken out the highs for the week. It's opened the door to run potentially up into the 7602 to 7625-ish area. And it may be, we might be at the point where my flight path B gets busted. Maybe. Okay, so I'm going to wait for a little moment here and get this thing going. And Alexis, you ask, how do you get the timer on the screen so you know you have hit the 20-second mark? Well, sure. So let's go over here, top right-hand side of the screen. Okay, that little adjusting menu bar. You click on that, and then you click on where is it? Position time indicator. Boom, right there. Position time indicator. Okay, and that'll turn it on. Now the train has left the station. We are 12 points above 75.80. We're about 50 points above 190 on the NQ, and I'm not in a trade, and I'm kicking myself right now. So we are still pushing up. The upside pressure is there. It's all good. Things that the market's tethered to are tugging at the market are cooperating. Not in epic form, but they are cooperating. Euro's already up dramatically on the day. It's starting to point up again. So we had a big push-up bar. If we are trying to look for pattern, big push-up bar, volatility, pullback. 4 or 5 bars went by, and then another big push-up bar, 3 bars of indecision and volatility, and then another push-up bar. So I would expect 2 bars of indecision or volatility to present, 1 to 2 bars, and then another push-up would be the idea. So I'm going to try to use the recency bias of the pattern from effectively the low at 938 and really effectively from the pop up that we got at 941. And I'm going to try to use that to my advantage to see if I can jump into a long and carry it on higher. The alternative here is just simply trade the ES. But I do want to try an NQ trade. So I am going to be doing that. And Ray, if you want to close your trade, you can simply hit the flatten button. The flatten button down right over there. That will close the trade right off. And I'm happy to have you here, Ray. That's amazing. It's always great to see a fresh face that's brand new and willing to share that in the chat and trading with wealth charts for the first time today. So I'm glad you're stoked. Let's see if we can get anything going here for another trade. So I've got my indecision bar, 1 to 2 bars of indecision. Could we then get another pop up? Kind of following the pattern here. So we had a pop up. We had about 5-6 bars. Well, really 6 bars of volatility. Then another pop up, 3 bars of volatility, but leaning up, then another pop up. It should be 1 or 2 bars. Ideally, it's just 1, and this would be a big green bar pushing up, and I'd be able to jump in on it, but clearly it's not. So right now, no long side trade. For those who are in trades, do take great care at this moment in time. Remember that we're located in an area that is very expensive. To get into longs over here and ride the trend on a day-over-day basis, it's very expensive, right? The way that you determine that is just location relative to all-time highs, right? The all-time highs that were made right there on the ESU on the 2nd of June, we are not that far away, right? 76, what was the high? 76.94 roughly. And we're at 75, 85, 90-ish at this moment in time. We're not that far away. Now, I don't think we're headed all the way up there. I think we're going to face resistance and come back down again. But I can think as much as I want. I can plan as much as I want. My plans worked out really, really well on the week so far. But this is the day where it could change, right? We followed flight path B religiously for the week. And are we at this area where we start to turn and burn? Or do we tear higher? And at this moment in time, you're going to look at the chart. You're going to go, well, it looks like it's going to tear higher. We made a higher high versus today. We're not in an inside day. We're above the water lines. Just remember, you need fuel to keep climbing the mountain. and you want to avoid, so fuel is light for the ES, and you want to avoid inclement weather. Inclement weather is the NASDAQ. It's still underperforming, right? It is up about 0.6% on the day versus yesterday's close. And you take a look at the S&P E-minis, they're up over 0.7%. It's not dramatic, but in terms of what we've seen of late, it is important, and it is dramatic enough for me to go, yeah, there's a problem there. Okay, let's go and see what we've got. Gus, you got all pieces on the ES bull run. I am super happy to hear that. And George, I'm just reading your comment here. And exactly, I can't tell you every precise move in advance so that it can become a money printing machine, George. Yeah, you're right. I can't do that. I know you're being sarcastic. All right, let's go over here, and I think you're being jovial more than sarcastic. So let's go and see if we can get another trade off here. So the pattern is breaking. Okay, push up bar, 6 bars of crud. Push-up bar, 3 bars of volatility, and then another push-up bar, and now we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars of crud. So the pattern is broken. The opportunity for a further push-up, no. Is this simply a back test of rising support? Probably. But the differential in performance between the two indices has gotten so wide that it makes trading a little harder. You can just put the blinders on and focus on one chart only, right? And work it. If I was going to focus on the NASDAQ chart, the insight, and literally just focus on the NQ chart and nothing else, we've come up above the speed lines, above the channel. We're in an extended spot, but in a buy signal state. And the 1-minute chart is just back testing rising support. So we've got triple S, range breaker, breakout forecaster, champion trend, champion cross, another breakout forecaster, and then an absence. So pulling back to test the last and second last breakout forecaster is a high probability. We're probably going to come down to 3160 and then resume the sequence. Probably. Okay. So I could be looking for a setup like that, or the alternative is not necessarily just the obvious. Obviously, it would be, come up above the center mass of the indecision here, get above roughly 240-ish, and then look for the long right there. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that at this moment, but that could become the way of the future. So we'll see. I do want to have the ES on screen to know that it's at least trying to get back above its speed lines. And then I want to see if I can take a trade on either or. I'm more gravitating to the ES because it is stronger, but the NQ is trying to take over right now. The hard part about trading the NQ is the ranges are so wide, to be in the trade for, even 10 seconds might be too long, let alone 20. So at this stage, I'm going to probably defer to trading the ES. I'm taking it on. The NQ is trying to push up to a high, so I'm looking for that breakout. The trade seemingly is in the money, ever so slightly, now slightly out of the money, but I'm in the trade. I'm holding on to it. 12 seconds in, 13 seconds in. Let's see if we can get a push up and get something good out of this. Some progress. So I've passed the 20-second marker, but trade's not in the money. And if the bar goes redder, it's going to bust the speed lines, and that's going to be a problem. I want to see if the NQ can pick itself back up on a test of the low of the bar and start pulling the ES up. Let's see if that works out. It's trying to. My trade's slightly in the money. I want to see if I can get something more out of it. But this might be, if it comes down below the speed lines, it'll be failure. So at this stage, it's taking way too long. I don't like the fact that the NQ is red. I'm going to probably end up taking a scratch on the trade, or very small profit, or very small loss if I don't see something good in short order, and I'm taking a whopping $12.50 of profit. Now, I might miss the rest of the move, okay? But what I'm seeing between the two indices and the way that they're operating, trying to get to higher highs, the NQs tried to get to higher high. It was very marginal, right? You can see it exploded out on the 1-minute chart. The 5-minute chart just looks like it's come up to the same high, and now it's being batted back down. So my decision to get out of the way was driven by the lack of Jack's utter lack of enthusiasm for those of you that are Fight Club fans. Now that enthusiasm might be coming back up, and Jack being the Nasdaq, right? Let's see if it can get itself together and pull its long pants up and go. How are things going on your side of the screen, folks? Let me know. Share with me in the chat, and you can do that by way of all good, 5x5, 7s, whatever it may be. But I want to make sure that what you're getting from me is productive for you, right? If you want me to focus in a different area, you let me know. And I see that question. So still, you think it can be bearish? Yes, I think it can be bearish. I have not seen a deviation far up enough above my flight path B to tell me it's busted. If you actually look at the flight paths drawn in carefully and kind of actually put a line on the screen, I'll just trace it. It takes you right up to 75.80 to 85 in that territory. Okay, it takes you right up into that territory, and the secondary high is a higher high. So we haven't really done anything here that's changed anything. All right, it hasn't changed the flight path. Could the whole thing unravel? Yeah. I'm looking at things that can act as leading indications to support that, and I'm waiting to see if I can find anything there. So right now, I'm still in wait mode. Let me get this off your screen and get the trading charts back up. So the NQ is trying to push up again. I'm going to try the trade the same manner on the ES. If it's going to carry the ES higher, I want to see this current 1-minute bar, which is just at the beginning of its life, grow a little faster and see if this is a true resumption. Typically, and just to be very clear, for those that want to learn a little bit more about the tools, the better resumptions happen when we test the channel and bounce up off the channel, especially if we just stay in the upper half of the channel. Those are the best resumptions. In this case, we didn't even test the channel. We're just kind of continuing higher on the NQ. It's pulling the ES up, but we know how grave the risk is, right? I can enter the trade, see a couple $100 of profit, lose $500-600 if it implodes directly. So I'm going to pick the ES again right now. We are rising into resistance of 30,300 on the NQ. So I'm aware of that. Okay. But we're not at 30,300. And my position's in the money. It's in force for 12 seconds. I needed to get to the 20-second marker. And then I can elect to take profit, build the trade, or just ride it. So I'm taking some profit imminently. Okay. Taking a little piece of the move. That was a 0.5 point, 2 ticks on the ES. And the NQ is continuing to rise right now into a resistive area. Now, the resistance that the NQ is facing is not going to be obvious from a multi-time frame technical dashboard with these indications on it. We have to go back to the plain clothes chart that has the structures on it. So I'm going to do that for you right now. And what you'll see very quickly is an interesting lesson for traders in general. Okay, so this is the NQ daily chart basis going back to the beginning of May. The superimposed on the screen are weekly pivot levels, 2 different strategies, DeMark and Fibbo. They're weekly pivot levels superimposed on a daily chart. And then you've got these gray bars that come with red lines. And one starts back over here on the 6th of May, one starts over here on the 13th of May, one starts over here on the 11th of June, another one from the 17th of June. These are volume profile histograms. They simply tell me how many contracts exchanged hands at what price level. And the red lines that are associated with each histogram is the area where the maximum number of contracts exchanged hands. Okay. Now, the way that it works is the maximum number of contracts exchanging hands is called volume point of control. So the volume point of control from May the 6th is sitting at 29,820, which we for all intents and purposes, tested in this future session, held it as support. Good. We got above the water line from the 17th of June, right over here at 30,000 and about 30 points. Okay. And now what are we dealing with? We're dealing with price rising into an area that's hollow. So when you look at volume profile, you got to look at it as convex shapes, nodes, sticking out, or concave shapes, hollow areas, okay, where price can come up to the hollowest point of that histogram, which is effectively what we've done, okay, We've come right up underneath 30,300, effectively, testing it, if you will, but we weren't able to get through it. Statistically, if you look at the hollow areas on volume profile histograms, and let's just do this on a 5-minute chart right now, it requires a minimum of 3 tests on average before it's able to break through. So if we're coming from underneath it, we're talking about breaking through higher, right? So you can see it's all white over here, gray bars over here, gray bars over here. This is that inflection zone. It's the hollowest point of the volume profile history, the histogram, going back into the middle of June, which is the relevant cutoff. So I've obviously you have to learn how to start the histograms in a certain place, but we can talk about that later. What I want you to see here is we've had 2 tests of this area, right? One that poked its hair slightly above, one that got pretty much right up to the line, save for half dozen points or so. This is the second test of that area. Usually it takes it's the 3rd or the 4th test that can breach it and break it. Break it, really. We've already breached it. We've come up to underneath it, just underneath it. And do we need to pull all the way back in order to go? No, we don't. We've got a buy signal state pretty much across the board, most importantly on the hourly time frame. So as far as I'm concerned right now, I want to see if that attempt if this is still a singular attempt. It should pull back at least into the low 200s to high 100 area before it can go again. And I want to validate that with the technical tools. Okay, so high 100s, low 200s is support. We've come in effectively to the low 200s, 220. We're trying to get it going again. If it decides to get going, I might want to join that trade. I still am more likely going to defer to trading the stronger of the 2 markets, which is the ES, using the insight that, okay, this could be a resumption again, right? We had a resumption of the buy sequence at 9:56 on that 1-minute bar, started a resumption. I want to see if we get another resumption here. And look, it might turn ugly, right? What I'm seeing from my subchart indicator right now are very high or elevated values of where the lines are in this 4-quadrant channel. They're in the low to mid 50s. Which is not a great area for a buy sequence to start. Mid 40s, high 40s would be okay for a buy sequence to start. And you're seeing these oscillating signals. You got a down, you've got an up, you've got a down, and we're starting to come down. As described, we would be likely coming down to test the last 2 breakout forecasters, and it looks like we're going to see that. We're probably going to see something in the 185 to 150-ish area imminently. So we came down to 182 or 183 roughly. I don't think this little down move is done. Is it short worthy? If you're using an account, you can scalp in and hold trades for a second or 2. This is all scalpable on the short side without too many questions. It's not tradable on the short side yet because signals have not yet conformed on a 1-minute and a 5-minute, and certainly not between the 5-minute and the 1 hour. The 1 hour chart is still doing fairly well. It's in a triple S buy. That's that green triangle right there. It has not eroded significantly enough to say anything's changed. But, here's the living proof, right? The math done a week ago for this week is still holding true. We've come up. We're having some struggles here. Are we about to form the top of the parabola? Or is this simply, the second attempt to come through the inflection zone? And are we going to have a third attempt? We're going to have a third attempt. Ideally, we do not see anything lower than this DeMark resistance 1 weekly pivot level, which is around the 160, 170-ish area. But let's gauge it and see how this thing plays itself out here. So bear with me for a moment. I just got to click some buttons on another screen. Okay, I'm not actively shorting this anywhere else or anything like that. I'm just waiting to see whether or not this test of 168 holds. So far, it's looking not so much like it wants to. So one wants to be really careful. And I'm hopeful that anyone that has long has done that already. Okay. And Donna, you might be right. Well, hey, look, Ray, I appreciate that comment on the tool that you're using. I think that that's going to work. That can work very well, and it's well in line with my call. But at this stage, I don't want to give up on the idea that this market is going to try to push up to another to a higher high. You heard it even before the cash hour started. We're probably going to try to push back up towards the high, and we have. At this stage, the NASDAQ has been damaged enough that I'm concerned that it might not, but we're seeing the ES come in and try to rescue the NQ at this stage. And it's doing a fine job of it at this moment. Now, I still don't like the long side trade on the ES or the NQ, certainly not on the NQ or on the ES just yet. I'd like to have my indicator, the triple S indicator, which stands for super swing signal, which works intraday, intra-week. I'd like to see that triple S line, which is the red line, cross through the center of the channel. On the cross, I could take the trade intra-bar, or I could wait for it to close above the center of the channel. And what's going to determine my decision is what the NASDAQ is doing. So I'm taking it on because the NASDAQ's trying to push up to the top of a channel. I'm in the trade. I certainly do not want to have it implode on me as we're coming up to a local high. I certainly want to, have my risk management in place and, take great care on it. But it is profit positive, and I'm almost at my 20-second marker here, and I'm taking profit. Thank you very much. Now I see a question on how do you get the, so Lynn, I think you asked, how do you add position time in? You can toggle it on. Simply go to the little config menu over here in the top right-hand side of your Wealth Charts app. Okay, and you can toggle that on, and then you can turn on position time indicator. Just have it toggle, it's a toggle button, just toggle it on, and off you go. So Lynn, I hope that that answers your question. And hey there, Michael K. All right, so I am, and I'm just watching a few things, and of course, reading through the chat comments as well. Oh, Jennifer T, it's a great place to be where you're at. Being careful is important, but what gets one to a funded account, the style of trading, I would just say being a little bit more conservative, but not changing the style would probably be the way to approach it, right? Because it got you there to begin with, right? That's not me encouraging you to overtrade or make more trading decisions. It's simply making the remark that you got to a certain mark with a certain style, right? You want to keep that up, but you can add 30% of conservatism to it by way of smaller position size, tighter stop, changing from the from the mini to the micro, that kind of thing. That's my thought there. And I'm watching, I'm watching for signs of failure at this stage. If we're going to get a sign of failure, it's probably going to come from the NASDAQ. At this stage, if you look at it on the plain clothes chart, remember that conversation that we had about the hollow area of 30,300, right? We've had one attempt. We've had two attempts. The third attempt could be starting as we speak right now, right? We're back above that DeMarc resistance 1 weekly pivot level. And if we make another run for the border at 30,300, the third or the fourth test of an inflection zone, of an area that is hollow on the volume profile histogram, it's the third or the fourth test that have the best probabilities for breaking it. So I want to see if this actually mounts the third attempt here. I don't know. And Jimmy D, Jimmy's writing in that switching to micros have helped immensely on this week and in general. And I would agree. In a week where you've got such volatile ranges, the micros can become a real asset, right? So at this stage, I'm just going to stick with the minis, but I'm modifying my strategy. Instead of trading more NASDAQ, I'm trading the ES, but I'm using the insight on the NASDAQ to help me with the ES trades, as you just saw, with another profitable trade, which is nice to have. All right. So we are now at around 10:16 a.m. Eastern time. There was some small data at 10 a.m. I think it was factory orders, nothing burger data. We've had the big data already come out. I've given you a little insight as to why did the market pop up on the data at 8:30. It was a bad job sprint, right? A bad job sprint on the heels of, as Ruth Ann was saying yesterday, Warsh was making some dovish comments when he was speaking. Well, the market took the bad job sprint and decided that it would help price in a rate cut sooner than later. And it was a little game. We popped up on it. We're still holding up from that pop, right? We back tested support and we popped back up. So at this stage, all I can say is I don't think we're going to get a rate cut in the next 3 to 6 months, which is what the primary equity markets are kind of forecasting or discounting, the future into now. It's not a 6 to 9 month window. It's a 3 to 6 month window, closer to 3. And I highly doubt we're going to see a rate cut in that time. It would require, a terrible job sprint, something that goes negative in the 100,000 or more range, and probably consecutive for a couple of months. Okay, so right now it's gotten weak enough that the NASDAQ is, threatening a rollover, right? We've had 2 tests of that inflection area at 30,300. And it's the third that would be the one that could break it. We were trying to mount the third on the last closed 5-minute bar. Didn't continue. We have not come down below the lows of that 5-minute bar, but we're in a dangerous spot right now in terms of price value for the NQ. It's easier to see it if I do it like this. So what I want you to see over here is the hourly chart has seen price break through the center of this 3-line channel. The 3-line channel is called the moving support and resistance channel. It's coming down to the slow speed line, which is this magenta line rising. The bottom of the hourly charts MSR channel is at 30,070 points. Okay, so if we start to breach the 5-minute charts channel at 30,100, we're coming down 30 more points or more. Okay, so we're right at the spot where it can start to roll over. Okay, obviously you can see lower lows have been made, but we have not broken the structure that says it's game over or likely game over. So patience at this moment. Okay, I'm gonna dock the charts back so that we can have the side-by-side view, as folks have been telling me they like that side-by-side view, especially in this market, right, where the interplay between both indices matters a great deal. So if we're breaking the bottom of the MSR channel over here, we're probably going to have a fairly decent short at hand and available. Now, I might end up taking it on the NQ as a scalp. I don't know if I'll get my full 20 seconds out of it, though, is the problem. But again, I need to see it below 30,103, which is the bottom of the channel right there on the 5-minute chart, and it's not there, right? So we don't have the signal as of yet. We're still waiting for that, and it doesn't matter to me if it does or it doesn't. If it does, I have a little moment where I could short it. It's difficult to say that it's going to be a great trade. It would be a scalp. If we bounce back up above the falling speed lines, which are on top of price right now, the 5-minute chart's in a kill zone for those who are, remember me talking through that. You got falling resistance above price, rising support below. So if we get above the top jaw, which is sitting at around 30,200, it's back to going up to 300 and trying to break it. So I'll let the market elect. rather than force the trade. If the market elects a breach of 30,100, it's a scalpable short. I probably am not going to be able to stay in force for 20 seconds, so I'm probably not going to scalp that. And Alan R., the 20-second is related to the nature of the account that I'm trading, the Funded Future Family account. But I can still demonstrate a scalp even if the trade doesn't count. And I'm trying it right now. I'll demonstrate it and see if I can get something out of it. The next bar starts to rip up. I got problems. Starting to rip up here. So I got to be very careful with it. My finger's on the trigger. Fingers on the trigger. And let's see if we roll under here. I've passed the 20-second marker, so I could take some profit if there is any. But this could turn out to be a nasty loss here if it does not cooperate. It's trying. Okay, I'll take $155 of profit. And that did count. It did actually last for more than the 20 seconds. And there's still more to go now, right? The drop now can take us down to where? Well, we said 30,070 points. We've come down to 90. We're probably going to see 70. If 70 breaks, then the next target area for a short on the NQ is 30. Did anyone else get that trade? Let me know. And Winston, you're not alone. I see you here. I see you're over in the other area now, though. So don't worry. You're here. If you asked a question I wasn't able to answer it, feel free to ask it again. I'll see if I can catch it. But of course, between 11 and 11:30 a.m. Eastern time is where we're going to do more of our Q&A overall. So that'll help certainly. Okay, let's go and bring on the plain clothes chart right now. Oh, right here, and take a quick look-see at what this formation is. Is it a double top? Well, come down below the neckline, and then it'll be a double top. Right? Come down below the neckline, and then you've got a double top formation. So right now, where are we? We're coming down towards 30,030 points. If we come down and actually break it, that's probably going to be bad. This is also an area where it can bounce. So 30,000 and about 30 points, if you look at it on the plain clothes chart going back on the daily time frame, it's that volume point of control starting from the 17th of June. For those who are wondering what that volume point of control means, it's the area of price where the most contracts exchanged hands since the 17th of, from the start of the future session on the 17th of June, which was 6 p.m. the night before, of course. Okay, so as of right now, we've held. Okay, it has not gone away. It's held. So at this stage, I'm going to maintain modest enthusiasm to it trying to restart again. And if it wants to restart again, amazing. Let's see. Restart meaning going back up again, right? So I'm waiting patiently right now to see if a resumption of the primary move since the open is going to take place, or have we done enough damage to prevent that from happening? We have not come back down below the line as we just diagnosed to say, 30,030 points was the line. And why June the 17th? There's lots of reasons for that in particular. It could be the 17th. It could be the 18th. It's really after we made highs and we started to come down and fill the gap. So here's the actual rationale, Anka. And since you ask, there's an answer. So there's your gap. Okay, there's the fill. Okay, so that's an event at a market level. So these volume profile histograms are tied to event moments, lows, highs, gap fills, and other things as well. So right now, it's still faltering, still giving us trouble. And, I'm really tempted to want to short it again, but I think I'm going to do shorts below the 30,030 marker if that presents, right? We've already done the work there. We've already identified that is a volume point of control from the 17th of June. This is a double top formation if that breaks effectively, and it can open the door for a drop back down to 29,820. Seemingly wants to go down there. We're coming down into it as support. We have to treat it as support until we know different. The champion trend buy zone trail line on the 5-minute chart also resides there. Let's see if it gets breached. We can obviously see it's affecting the ES as well, but note on the 5-minute chart, the ES is coming down into rising support. This is a kill zone, right? You've got falling resistance above price, rising support below. On the NQ, the top jaw won, the bottom jaw broke. We just want to see that it's really fallen off. And that would be 30,030 points breaking. So that hasn't happened yet. So we're waiting. Hey there, Kingpin. I hope folks are doing well on the day. Let me know, how things are going overall for you. They're going. I'm profit positive on the day. It's going fairly well. Hey there, 007. Nice to see you here. And Madhu, you got the short scalp. Amazing. I'm happy to see that. I just started chiming into comments there. So we're coming down to 30,030 points. If it gets breached, I can try a short. We'll see if there's anything good there. I don't want to short the ES. I'd rather short the NQ. So I'm getting ready to do that. We have to recognize that it can act as support. And there's always noise around market lines or levels or structures. So I want to see, we're hitting it. We're breaching it. Okay, let's see if we get ripped back up, which would be normal, right back up to the line, and then resume the short. That would be ideal. If it just continues, train's left the station, I've missed it. That's okay. There'll be another trade. I missed it. Now, if we rip back up now almost all the way to 30, I would be amenable to shorting it. Otherwise, I'd have to short below the lows, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold that position for long enough to have a count. But hey, those who took the short at 30,030 points, you've made out well. And I hope it worked for you. It should be working. At this point, we are now at profit taking for this particular short at 30,030 points. It should stabilize around the 50 to 65-ish area. Should, not will. Okay, it should. And we should see it slow down in its decline, but let's see if that works. And then I can try for a resumption short. Yeah, so it's stabilizing as expected, right in the area where I've diagnosed. But if it wants to directly continue, I might be able to get a short out of it. And I'm waiting to see if that's viable. I chased it. I'm probably going to have to take some pain on this or get out of the way. I don't think I'm going to be able to hold this for 20 seconds. But it's in the money right now. I'm 10 seconds in. I'm still waiting. If it starts ripping up and I'm, yeah, this is now getting a little hairier. It's a little too hairy for me, but I'm now past the 20-second marker. So let's see if we get another dip down and I can escape with some profit. There's a fair chance for that to happen. There it is. Let's see if we get a little more. And no. I think I've waited too long. I waited way too long. And I'm going to give it one more second here. If that bar stays green and pumps up, I got to get out. I could probably try the trade again, but that's the risk of trying to scalp at a lower point and, try to extract so much out of it. I was not able to. I could try it again, of course, and expect another low. I need to know where we're going. And I think I do. 29,820, right? So we've lost the chance to break through 300. It's gone. We've come into a local area of support where it's just a minor pause. You've got a swing high over here, swing low, swing low. This is an area where it can just pause momentarily. And then the continuation down is probable. The continuation down can happen anywhere from here on. Bear with me for just 1 second here, folks. Just going to mute the mic and All right, I am back here live with you right now. Here it is. Let's go and zoom right back into the insights that we are trying to mine here. So we've paused in the area where there is some local support, coming back down below roughly the 29,920 area, opens the door for a 100-point drop. So below 920 down to 820 becomes the likely outcome. And look, it may very well do so. Let's not front run that. Let's wait to see if the market can actually get down below there in order to make a better decision. We're at 960, 965. We're back above the speed lines on the 1-minute chart. 5-minute chart is still in a sell signal state that is pervasive. The ES is also in a sell signal state on the 1-minute chart. The 5, not so much. And we're back to the top of the channel on the ES. We're still in a kill zone, so it can get whack-a-mole back down right here, right now. And this might be the moment for a potential short side trade. I'm considering it very strongly at this moment in time. I want to see if that happens. But again, if we get back up above 30,030 points, the game changes again, right? The game changes to potentially looking for longs again. It might not be instantaneous, but I do see a higher risk of it turning back down over here. So I'm going to try a short right now, right here. And I want to see if I can get any productivity out of it. It's in the money right now. I want to see if, if it starts to shoot up and, just past my entry line dramatically, even if I'm not past the 20-second marker, I'm going to exit the trade. But it's in the money nicely right now. Let's see if we can get some more out of it. Right at that marker. I think I took a small profit. Yeah, a tiny one, if not a tiny loss. And now back to the game. If I'm able to get action back down below the 960-ish area, I'm going to probably try another attempt at short. The concern that I would have is that the ES is trying to hold support on its channel, the upper half of the channel and or above the top. And that might make it more difficult for a sell-off in the NQ. But here it is. It's going. It's not yet come down below the low. And it's testing local support, which is not strong enough to say it's going to hold. Below 920, there's probably another short to be had. We're at 935, 930, 920 at this moment. Let's see if we submerge below 920. And I can jump into a short side trade. If not, we'll have a little bounce here. The bounce could take us to where? Well, the bounce would take us back to about the 30,030 marker. We would only know that something is actually changing above the 30,030 marker, right? Above that line, the door then opens for, okay, maybe the game is now switched back to long again. But it's really now still hunting for shorts. Below 29,920 points, the door is open for a move down to this volume point of control, which is the most important one for the week, at 29,820. Okay, so patience is prudent at this moment. Let the market bring the trade to us. Exactly, Frank. You're right. I remember you putting that comment in there, days ago, maybe last week, right? I remember you writing that in there. I still haven't, I've tried to put the second charts in there, but they trip me up. But it may end up being what ends up being the right way to manage it if the position has to be held for 20 seconds, right? So I'm going to try that. I'm going to try it. I don't know if I'm going to try it right now, but I am going to try it. So thank you for that. It's interesting that that can help. Oh, that's cool. Pretty cool. Okay, here we go. I'm trying it again. I'm in a short. It's profit positive. Finger on the trigger to get out. If it rips back up, out. Not interested in staying if it rips back up, like I said. And I can try one more go here because we are below the 920 marker. So I'm giving it one more college try here. I'm not seeing it be effective enough yet. It could rip right back up and be very problematic. And it's getting close, and it busted that account. It busted that account, right? So micros probably better than the minis, but no harm, no foul. I can easily move over to another and carry on the journey. I will do that in just a moment. So bear with me for a second over here while I get that all figured out. I'm going to bring the plain close chart up on your screen right here, right now. Okay, I'm good. Perfect. Okay, so it tried to come down and break down again. It didn't break down. We got very close to the unravel. I think we're still headed lower at this stage. It's hard to deny that when you're taking a look at the current signaling overall, and of course the round trip that we've had, and the insight that you had to begin with on the day that it's very unlikely that this game of trying to price in a rate cut sooner than later is going to be a success. So I'm still looking at this as a market that has risks to come down to and potentially through 29,820. The only thing that's going to change that is getting above 30,030 points at this stage. And if that happens, sure, my tune changes, my approach changes. So I'm waiting now to see if there's any efficacy on the long side that can show up. It starts on the ES above 75, 74. It starts on the NQ above 30,030 points, and then 30,070 points. Back to shorts, anywhere near round number 29,900, maybe even slightly above there. We shall see. So I'm continuing to work right now with the insight, and we'll see if it is able to work. Let's see. 29,932 gets broken. I'm considering the short again. ES is in the lower half of the 5-minute chart MSR channel. Sell signal stayed on the 1-minute chart. Double red dots are there. Single blue dots on the buy signal status for the 5-minute chart. They're not aligned yet, so not ideal. We need to get below, if we can get in and around the 59, 60-ish area, that would encourage the short. If it's going to reverse back up, I do need to see the ES sustain above 74 effectively. That gets us in the upper half of the 1-minute chart MSR channel. Gets us above resistance on the 5-minute chart, and it can help stabilize the NQ, but we shall see. Jeff S., I see your question there. A few is the answer. Robert W., that's a great question. The question that you asked in the chat, with the new wealth charts format, how do you change things into dark mode? Go to your left side bumper. Open up the configure menu down here on your left side bumper, and the option for dark mode will show up right there. So Robert W., I hope you got that message. Okay, so I'm just going to compress the bumper again. So on your left side bumper in the gearbox. And then Ray, I think you asked a question. The SSS indicator, triple S indicator, is a simplified swing signal. It's a proprietary tool. It's something that's kind of an add-on to a Wealth Charts membership. So if you're if that's something you want to learn a little bit more about, you can write into support@wealthcharts.com. And clearly same here, Adam. All right, this is a more volatile market, right? So using smaller using the smaller contract, the micro can make a lot more sense in order to maintain it. Maintain that 20 seconds and continue to, ride the move. But right now, I'm seeing bear flag or bottoming process. Okay. I think bear flag on the NASDAQ front. I'm taking another attempt at short. I'm in right now. Okay. I'm going to see if I can get that. This is exactly where I said I would try the short in the low 900s. But if the trade starts to get away from me, more than $300-400, I'm probably going to have to get out of the way. My finger's on the trigger to get out in the case that happens. I've passed 20 seconds. If I get a dip now that breaks, I can take, a whopping $80 of profit. I'd rather take the profit and then re-enter the trade and have another whack at it. The next low for the ES is the one that really is going to count. Get below 59 or 57, right? If it's going to drag the ES below 57, which is what it's doing right now, right? So for those who are still in the short, kudos to you. Good on you. Maintaining it right now makes sense until we see what happens right here. If we're breaching that low, this can become shortable as well. And I'm taking it right now on the ES. I want to see a direct drop here. It's profit positive, as you can see. About $175. Let's see if I can maintain that or more. There's even more. So it's a beautiful little drop. That's a nice little trade. And I'm almost at my 20-second marker. I want to see if I can get a little more out of it. Okay, I'm taking $325 of profit on that trade. Okay, back on the horse. Now, doing it on the NASDAQ was also viable. I chose not to. I took it on the ES. And I think I took a smaller trade on the NQ earlier where I took the short and then I got out of the way after the 20-second marker with a small amount of profit, like $80 or so. But that was about a $400 trade on the short side. And what did you hear in advance? What did you hear in advance? You heard me say, we're at a local support area that's not really that strong. If we go sub 29,920, there's a 100-point trade to the south side for the NQ. Okay, that and more has now happened. We've come back down below 29,820. This is it's kind of a mission critical level for the NQ. Why is it mission critical? These are daily bars. Go back all the way to the 6th of May. And look at that red line that's poking across the screen. It's at 29,820. It's how I started off the week conversing with you saying, hey, if we can get above that water line, the market has the opportunity to breathe. It got above, it breathed, it got itself all the way up to the VPOC sitting up over here in the 30,560-ish area. That starts on the 11th of June. And that's pretty much as far as it was able to go, right? And then the weakness that set in yesterday, okay, we saw some of it try to get overturned today. On what? On something that happened in the macro environment that I came to you in advance of this drop on the day. And I said to you, look, I don't think the market is going to be able to sustain with a pop up on trying to price in a rate cut sooner than later. And here we are, dropping. So now let me see if I can get into another trade. But quite pleased with the last several trades taken there. Now I want to see if I can do a little bit more. We're at 75.50 on the ES. We broke the 55 line, which opens up risk. We're in a sell signal state tentatively on a 5-minute chart for the ES. We've been in one for the 1-minute chart for a while. We have this beautiful triple S signal, the down triangle. The red dots appeared as of 10:27 a.m. And the rest has been history. And riding shorts at this stage may become a thing. We need to see price sustain below 820 or bounce up off of it and have a dead cat bounce. Nothing great happens and back down again we go. So we're at 10:45 right now. And Sandra, each each time there's a flush or there's a move, it's part of either a trend. There's a pocket of air that price can fall through. In this case, it was a pocket of air, and I'm sure hindsight will tell us that there was this, that, or the other headline, right? That may be the poster child for the move. But is that relevant, right? We came down into local support, right? Support. It was resistance here. It became support here after the breakout, validated as support. We launched up off of it into that jobs print that came in weaker and the market popped up. It didn't sustain it. We came back down to the critical 30,030 marker. We bounced and had another attempt to get through 30,300, failed, came back down, and you heard me say double top pattern, neckline at 30,000 and about 30 points roughly. And we broke that epically. We paused at that local support, and you heard me say below 920, we've got a 100-point trade likely down to the 820 area. And that worked out, perfectly. If you look left on your screen, you see how these gray bars are sticking out, Sandra, here and here, and there's nothing here. That's a vacuum. Okay, that's a vacuum. And we just got sucked down through that vacuum now to a support level. We're at a support level that we have to respect until we know it's broken. Now, does that mean flipping back to long? If you can scalp, sure. That might be an option, but I'm not taking that option. I want to look for a resumption short into the end of our trading time for the morning, which will be 11 a.m. Eastern time. And then we'll move into a review of the market morning and how it works. And Junior V, no, the Triple S indicator is proprietary to Wealth Charts as a proprietary indicator as well. So it's available to those that are wealth charters. And of course, so many of you here are. So I'll leave that there. And for those who are, curious about it, you can, of course, write into support@wealthcharts.com. I'm not here to sell you anything. I want to get the insight right. I want to get the trade right. That's what I'm here to do. So let's get back to work on it. Okay, so I'm considering the next short imminently. NQ's breaking down almost below the low, almost doesn't count. If it takes us down below 775, which it just did, I'm going to use that to probably take a short on the ES and the NQ. I'm doing both. So I'm double fisting here, folks. Okay, so some profit positivity. Let's see if we can hold on to this trade. Okay, 15 seconds in, profits there, $400 trade, $300 trade. And you know what? I'm taking my $360 of profit on that next trade. This position is on the ES is flat to slightly profit positive, slightly out of the money. I don't want to give up on it just yet. But if we come up above the speed lines, I'm probably going to have to get the heck out of the way. And I'm waiting. Yeah, I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to have to get out of the way. Did my execution happen here? I might not have hit the button. So I'm going to get the heck out of the way unless I'm seeing something going wrong here. So I might have had a technical blip on my side because I saw the position line flashing on off. But I want to just double check that I'm out of the position. I am. Okay. But that one cost me. That account was up like $300-400. Now it's down 100. The other account that I'm trading the NQ on is up over a couple hundred. So still profit positive, but that was not great. It happens. It happens. But I'm hopeful. Did anyone catch that short on the NQ there? Right? We got the 20 seconds out of it, got the timing right. The ES one didn't work out for me. But the door is now opening for more. The door is now opening for more. Let's see if we get more. Tom A, I'm super happy to hear that, my friend. That's great. So overall, folks, how's the morning gone for you, right? We had a little up. I gave you the context, the color, the narrative. Didn't think it would last. Gave you a forecast at the beginning of the week. And hey, I got to say, hey, are we at this part of the turn and are we coming down? It sure seems like it. We still don't have you know, a full you know, nasty roll. But if you look at the value of the ES and where it's located right now, we're still in the mid 7,500s, right? We're still right here, right there. We're not yet in the spot where we know that down is going to happen and it's going to be, you know, much more negative and sustain that way. Well, Vivian, I'm happy to hear that. Robert, I'm happy to hear that. Frank, good on you, man. Amazing. And on the NQ proper, well done. Jeff S, happy to hear that. Rodney, happy to hear it. George, happy to hear it. That's amazing. And exactly, Frank, you know, I think you and I are aligned on the macro quite well, right? The machines played the game of pricing in the rate cut sooner than later, using the, you know, path that was paved with some of the comments he was made yesterday. It's a pure game. Yeah, the chops put together, and we got a little short squeeze, a little follow-up buying, and it just imploded, right? Which is, there you go. Tanisha, kudos to you. Nice 4-digit gain. Junior V, you got your goal for the day. I'm super happy to hear that. And Jeff, we could, you know, we could hit that low. Right now, I want to see if I can take another short. And I want to see if the ES can get pulled down by the NASDAQ, if NASDAQ's going to make this next lower low. We're coming to it, 755. Do I know where we're going below there? Yes, I do. I'm going to give you that in a second. I want to see if I can get this short on. 665 is the next area. So 100, 110 points lower on the NQ. Can open up again into the end of the hour. Now, the closer we get to the end of the hour, market is net short. And if we don't continue to sell down here, we are going to see shorts close, and it will be a counterintuitive mechanical rip up. So far, this is the bar that's going to matter. This 1 minute bar right now. Come down below 55, shorts alive. I'm taking the short on the ES. I don't understand what happened. Why did it fail? The account's valid. I think I might have to refresh that template, which I'm going to do. I was having some blippiness over there. I think I have too many windows open. So let me just take that off screen, refresh it, make sure that it works. And Sultan, that's amazing. That's a nice, hefty a 4-digit gain. Happy to hear that. And Adam, I do have it turned on, right? I have that 20-second timer thing turned on. So if you're trading an FFF account, you know, you want to make sure that you make it through that threshold, which you're seeing me try to do. You know, a lot of times you see me do, you know, scalps under that time frame, but I'm trying to modify so I can do both. Okay, I've refreshed the other template. I'm just getting the actual stuff on screen. So give me a second to make sure I get it all there. 7, perfect. Okay, I think I'm good. And I just need to pull up the right layout. So, you know, I might as well do it all here in front of you. So I've just natively opened up the updated Wealth Charts app. I'm going over to a layout that was the one that had the ES on it. I'm getting that in here. And then I'm going to modify some of the bells and whistles to manage things here. And Sultan, I'm happy to hear that, man. You know, it's amazing when it works out, of course. It's also amazing if it doesn't work out and you don't get damaged, right? That both count. And they both add up. Okay, so you're just seeing me modify things around a little bit over here to get it back to the way that I like to look at it. And that might be helpful to you as well. Okay, So all is good now. I'd like to get that one down. And I think I am good to go. I just need to dock some of the charts, which is easy to do because I had to refresh midstream. So I think I had too many windows open. And that cost me a little bit on an ES trade, as you saw. When I was taking that stellar NQ and ES short, I was trying to get the heck out of the ES short, and I was having some technical difficulty on my side, but that is now in the past, and I should be able to execute here again, which I will do imminently. I'm just going to dock the charts again the way that you were looking at them before, and then we'll continue the conversation. So that should do the trick. And obviously we've not come down and unraveled. We're trying to cling to a volume point of control line. For the ES, it's 75.55. For the NQ, it's 29,820. We're trying to cling to those levels. We're in an oversold state. And like you heard me say 2 minutes ago, if we don't continue to sell down, right? If we don't continue to sell down, which we were on the 10:53 a.m. Eastern Time bar, but then we got a reversal. Okay. If we don't continue to sell down into the end of the hour, because the market is net short, we could see a mechanical pop up into the end of the hour as positions that have to get off the tape by 11 a.m. Eastern have to get off the tape. They're going to close their bearish positions on average. So right now, no trade. It doesn't make any sense right now. If we come back to lows and we start, heading down below the low, it would be a quicker trade, which might not make it for the lifespan required, but it could become a short again. Remember, on the NQ, we can go from 29,775 to 29,665. And where am I getting that? Again, from my plain clothes chart, where I do the work with the structures and the pivot levels. And that's the blue line that we would be gravitating down towards, below 775. And we're very close to that happening. But again, we're in a period of time where we're coming into the end of the hour. And when the market is skewed, positioned on the short side, and you know that volume is going to get lopped off into the end of the hour, the assumption is that those strategies are going to want to take profit. And what do you do when you take profit? You buy to cover on shorts. So mechanical lift of the market can take place at that time. So right now, it's just a wait mode. We're almost at the end of the hour. A minute and 30 seconds to go. And wow. Jim K, I am so happy to hear that. Hefty 4-digit gain there on your side. Amazing. Folks, it looks like folks did well. It looks like folks have done, oh, wow. All right. I see comments in the other chats here. Oh, that's amazing. That's another hefty 4-digit gain. That's amazing. I'm so super happy to hear that. So folks seemingly are doing well. At the end of the day, the relationship that I'm trying to build with everyone listening in is one where you're getting the insight in advance, the couching. You're getting the transactable insight, the granularity in advance and in real time, and then you're getting the execution. And it takes time to get used to working with someone or with a team. But I'm hopeful that journey is well on its way with those that have been listening in regularly now for a while. All right. And Vivian, yes, there are no trading sessions that I am going to be doing tomorrow. So tomorrow, shop's closed. Futures will be ticking away until 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. But cash markets are closed. I'm not going to be doing any live streaming anywhere tomorrow at all. And then next week, it's back on track. No, it's a full day today. It's a full day today, Carrie. And swing thoughts. Look, the market was at the precipice of saying, oh, it can go back again and up we can go. And I didn't deny that that's a potential outcome. But again, what are you seeing? This is in response to your question, Rajan, right? Double top formation. we're at this part of the parabola, very likely, not certainly. And if there is no positive catalyst to keep the dollar down, what happened today is temporary. It's artificial at this stage. It could turn out to be something more valid, but it's temporary at this stage. And that's coming from the poor jobs data and the potential to have a rate cut happen sooner than later, which hogwash at the end of the day. It's a trading game. I tried to give you that narrative earlier. And if I get more follow through, right? If we come down below 7,500 today, I don't want to swing gold, don't want to swing silver on the long side. Could I consider bearish positions over the weekend? Yeah. A long volatility position really makes more sense below 75.75 on the ES. So things like UVIXY, or like a VIX volatility futures long, that kind of stuff makes sense if the primary market has not only broken this little neckline of the double top in a low 7,500 area, but comes down below that volume point of control that we had to emerge above at the beginning of the week. Below there, it's officially downtrend. This low is going to be broken. Very likely if we find ourselves back below 75.75. So that makes it the tricky part, right? So right now we're at 75.55. We need to be down below 74.75 to really make bearish positions sing, because that's the breakdown of the uptrend channel. That's a complete rejection and an admission at a market level that things are going to go more sour. The NASDAQ is the one that can lead us there. It's already below its equivalent, 74.75 line on the ES. That's 29,820 for the NQ, and we're already below it. So the NASDAQ's already screaming out that, hey, this is not going to work out very well. Now, we passed the hour, obviously, hour change. We're a few minutes past the hour, and I'm seeing the potential for another trade to form. So before we start our Q&A and our review of the morning, which will be more methodical and slower paced, I might want to try one more trade. So I'm looking for that right now. As we got towards the end of the hour, the turn was at 10:53. At that moment, we stopped selling down, and those who were short, as the market was net short, they started to cover mechanically, and we got a rip up into the end of the hour, exactly as described. We went from literally 7:30 all the way up to 8:50, 120 points in half dozen minutes. Now we're coming back down again. The NASDAQ is pressuring the ES lower, and I am considering re-entering a short right now. Just did. It's profit positive instantaneously, $150, $125 on the ES. I'm not double fisting it again. I'm going to just stick with one trade on one account. And let's see if I can get some profit captured on this trade. So I've passed the 20-second marker. I'm still holding the trade. It's $137 of profit. Is it going to continue lower? Very likely. The NASDAQ has broken down. Did anyone catch that trade? Because that was another little opportunity. It's still in force, technically, right? The NASDAQ comes down now below 730. We're headed down to 665, very likely. But I need to see that door open. So if you caught that trade, Sultan, looks like you did. Amazing. And Alexis, I'm happy to hear that. You got your gold met on the day. That's amazing. And Wes, what are you saying? Let me see. I hear your comment on... Well, it's a very eclectic group, Wes, right? It's not just day traders. It's and everyone, the majority of folks tend to have pots of different money in different time frames to begin with, right? So it is a diverse group indeed, and their risk profiles, everyone's risk profile is a little different. And Emad, what are you saying? Instead of double fisting, I either raise my head or lower it. That's the good. That is a good idea. I agree with that. And Louis, you got it. Oh, you got that last short. It worked out great, right? I obviously didn't hold it for its lifespan. It's now obviously profit-taking moment has already happened. But is there a continuation on this trade? Probably. There's probably a continuation. And look, well in the money now on the day. Happy that I got that result happening. Turn things around. I like all of that, and I don't want to mess with that, but I'm just seeing opportunity here. We're headed down to 665 on the NQ. Let's see if I want to use that to try one more ES short. Trying it again. It's not profit positive instantaneously. And usually my trades that don't go profit positive instantaneously don't work out. So I want to be very cautious with this one. It is now profit positive, another $100 of profit. 13 seconds, 14 seconds, 15, 16, 17. Let's see if I can maintain profit here. I'm taking it. Okay, so now you've seen repetitive profit positive trades at the right area, and it's working fairly well. And Louis, depends on the prop account you're trading. If you're trading the FFF accounts, there's a 20-second rule. So that's something that I'm trying to work into the conversation over here. Typically, you'd see me scalping 10 contracts, in milliseconds. But and it's that's not everyone's cup of tea, right? So I'm trying to offer that diversity over here. All right, folks. So we are now officially done the market operations, the trading operations time of our morning session. And just a blanket question, at this time, we're in the trade review and Q&A section of our market morning. But the trade to the short side is working very, very well. For those who are, still interested in just seeing me trade, you can just type in the lucky number 7 in the chat, and that's what we'll do. But it is important to review, an outlook. We are moving into a long market weekend, so I do want to provide some of that. But I am seeing the lucky number 7s run through the chat. So let's see if I can get one more off over here. We're overextended to the downside. We've gone through the 665 marker. So at this stage, it might be a little overdone on the downside. But just like the flight paths, the flight paths are bang on for the NQ and largely for the ES as well. We just haven't seen the other leg of it, right? Double top, 2 highs, and then a rollover. And the ES at this stage has come down, but you can see very clearly we made the move up from last Friday. There's your on high, there's your other high, there's your move down. Now the question is, do we continue to follow through and keep unraveling? So we've come down to a level of support. We overcooked it to the downside. This is an area where it can pause, and it is. And Frank, I'm super happy to hear that. That's amazing. Amazing. Hefty 4-digit gain, always a good thing on a day like this. So what we're seeing right now is not odd. The reversal that's happening right now, generated really by the NQ stabilizing at the 665 line, which is a weekly pivot level. The S&P E-minis are clinging with dear life, okay, to a zone on their side as well. And with dear life, meaning there is a volume profile node, okay, the volume point of control. And for folks who watched my strategy videos in the morning or my public videos in the morning, you'll have heard me say, if we lose support at 755, warning, danger. Okay, if we come down into the zone of 75.43 to 37, okay, it's probably time to get out of longs if one is in swing longs from earlier in the week, and it's probably going to open up the door for the next leg down that can take us back down to the lower 7500s, down to eventually the 74.75 line. I don't know that that's going to happen. We're clinging as much as possible to this volume profile node here. But below 37, the risks grow for more of a downside move. We just came down so far, so fast, got deeply oversold. Profit was taken on bearish positions. Now it's just about, can we have a resumption short take place? And I'm waiting for that next opportunity. And, while I'm waiting for that opportunity, as most folks requested, they didn't really want to do too much Q&A. They wanted to, mainly spend time having me find trades. which may be another one emerging imminently. I'm very interested in trying it below 29 on the ES. 75.29 gets breached. I'm probably going to try a short again there. I'd like to see the NQ lose support of its speed lines, and reassert that it wants to go down. Ideally, waiting for that fast speed line to cross below the slow to know that you have clearance, and the momentum is reshifted to the downside would be better, and it hasn't, right? So it actually is telling me no shorts, don't do it, just wait. Now we could be headed up from that fast speed line to the slow, which is sitting at 750-ish. If we come down below 686, back to the idea of shorting. But right now it's on a march to trying to come back up. And the ES is on a march as well. It could be coming right back up to the top of that zone, 75.43 to 37. And 43 is the top of the zone. So we'll see. And there is support there, King. There is support there. The most important support features that you can mine. Let me just show that to you here. So this is the ES. I'm just spreading out the daily chart, and then we'll zoom down into a 5-minute chart. Right there at 75.30, right there at 75.24, and then right where we came down to the low is an inflection point. So you're absolutely right about that, right? We'd have to come down another couple of times to breach it and break it. But we are clinging to this node, this volume profile node, which starts from here, the 17th of June, and it's sitting at 43, 44. Getting back above it does not really do justice to the market setting itself back up for up and away. This is a counter trend bounce against the predominant selling on the morning, and it is likely going to fail. Counter trend bounces, aka dead cat bounces. The cat's not going to bounce as high the second time. That would be the end. Apologies to cat owners. Okay, so right now I am just back at it trying to figure this out. But the big thing that I wanted to come into the room with this morning is share with you the rationale for the pop up on the jobs data, not strong enough to keep the market up in the air. I kept my mind open to say, maybe this is the day that can bust my flight path. Has not. It's been intact. And that turn is still what we are in right now. We don't have it confirmed yet until we get into the lower 7500s and breach roughly the 75, 10, 7500 area. So below the low that just happened. And a breach there is likely going to lead to a direct break. It's not going to be a breach and then a little bounce and indecision. It'll be a breach and an unravel, very likely. So look, no one says that has to happen today. We can stay afloat, hover above those support structures, have the market slow down, which would be absolutely normal into a long holiday market weekend. So let's see. Question from George. Yeah, I can do a little analysis on, is it AJG? Just let me know. And Bill G, to answer your question, that's FFF, Funded Futures Family. They are very beneficial, EMAD, but it's so much to put on the screen with so many new folks here. Okay, so George, I can absolutely look at that, and we've got plenty of time. I'm going to just stay focused for a moment here to see if we've got failure at this resistance area on the ES, and I can short it again. So I'm looking for that, and I'm watching to see if the NQ, which is already below the 1-minute chart speed lines, drags the ES lower. If it does, I got a trade. If not, the counter trend bounce lives a little longer. I'm going to try it right now. We're below the speed lines. Now we pop right back up above them. I don't like that. I want to see the NQ continue to get whacked down. Fast speed lines cross below the slow. So if there's going to be a resumption, this is an area where it can happen. Want to see that fast speed line cross below the slow on the ES 1 minute time frame as well, and maybe get some profit out of this trade. If it pops up above the speed lines, okay, there's 50, there's 60, there's 125 bucks of profit on a little trade that lasted for about just under 30 seconds. Just under 30 seconds. And Jeff P, with respect, so you asked for me to find another trade. There it was. Did you catch it? That's the question. And Jeff P, to answer your question, how do you decide on when to initiate the volume profile? It's at technical events or market events, lows, highs, gaps, major announcements, right? So that requires just a little, I guess, knowledge about the neighborhood. And that's what I'm here to provide. Okay, so that looked like it worked out well. I'm wondering if anyone else caught it. I'm waiting to see some responses in the chat. I know it can become exhausting to keep that energy level and focus, really, really strong. And Borkar, hey, it was a decent execution. It was decent. And it's okay, Bootios. I'm not going to catch them all, right? And average true ranges have been high. I fully agree, right? So that's why you saw me struggle a little bit with wanting to do the NASDAQ, right? But still was able to turn that around and get it going. Okay, so right now, as we head into the last little bits of our session, I do have a request, and let me just see. I do have a request for analytics on A symbol, which I'm going to do for George in just a sec. I do want to give you a little summary and outlook of where I think the market's going to go, and then we'll bring our activities to a close. Alex, what are you asking me here? Alex D. I actually don't know the answer to that question, Alex. It would make sense. It would be before 6 p.m. on Sunday if it was going to expire. That would make sense to me, but I think you're going to have to call them, Alex. Like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to give you a for sure. And John G, yep, yes, watch those speed line crosses on pullbacks for continuation of trend. There it is, right? And that's where I took my last execution, and we're going down. I used the NASDAQ as well, of course, to assist me in that. And now comes the moment of truth for those who are kind of looking for the next leg down. Where is the next leg down below 665 on the NQ? Let's go just divine that very quickly. I'm just joking. We're going to be able to identify it very quickly here. So 664, 665, it's a weekly pivot level. Volume profile starts to go into a hollow area until 575. So the next area that we are likely going to come down to, which is an inflection zone, an area where price can bounce back up 1, 2, the third or fourth time it tests it, it can break through it more likely than on the first 2 attempts. But 575 would be the next location. And below there, it's 530, 525. So there's probably a 75-point move in front of us down to 575. Short on the NQ as it sits right now. I want to wait and not capture all of it. I'd rather below 620 on the NQ. Below 620 on the NQ, I can call it out as a valid short. And below 20 on the ES, there's 2. Down 219, down 220 effectively, or 19, and then 1 below 20. So the NQ trade is valid below 620. The ES trade is valid where it is right now, but even more so below, I'd say below 20, 21 at this stage. But remember, it's that inflection zone that we want to make sure we test 3 times, right? There's been 1 test of it, 2 tests of it. There's so much noise around every level that when I was responding to King's comment on support at the 75-20 area, I said, hey, it's an inflection zone. You're going to want to see it come down 2-3 times, right? It's that hollow area right in around here, which is the low of the daily bar, effectively. And we want to see it come down to it more than 2 times. This is the 3rd time that has the better chance of breaking it. So we've only come down to it twice, right? So let's just zoom in on that. Actually, better to see it on the 1 minute time frame. There's the first time, right? That was around the 11:07 a.m. Eastern time, a 1 minute bar, and this is the 2nd attempt to come down to it, right? We've gotten into the gravity well of the zone. Now, if we get a counter trend bounce into the channel, something like this, where we end up seeing a back test of the falling channel, kind of like we did over here, okay, that becomes shortable. Or it kind of has to be a little bit higher to count this as the 2nd attempt. If it directly breaks down below 22, 21, I may want to try the short, but I'd rather wait for it to come up into the falling channel, face resistance in this area, and then give me the opportunity to short it as it's coming down below 37, and then short it again as it's coming down below 21. Right now, it's fairly clear we want to try to rise to the falling channel. Okay, folks, so I'm going to conclude my trading activities at this stage. Ended up in a profit positive day, about 400, north of $400. There was one account that got busted, which that's on me. But I like to be transparent with you. And you know what? I'm really hopeful, based on the results that I've seen people put into the chat today, that we're jiving and gelling really well overall. And King, if the question is which session would I trade? North American Open, the open and the close. So the first hour and a half, sometimes from 8 a.m. even to about 11 a.m., a few hours, and then the last 30 minutes, unless there is a major market event or volatility is high. And then I'm trading all sessions. I rarely am interested in trading the Eurozone session. Rarely. Obviously, it's late hours, and I'm a father, so not ideal. But there it is. Howard, I'm glad it was a great session for you. So, folks, this brings us close to the end of our time, but I've got 2 more things that I want to do here. I want to see if I can get them done in short order. Let's see if that can happen easily here. So I'm going to change templates here and see if that can be a way that I do this. So AJG was the symbol, George. I'm going to take a look at that right now with you. Just moving to another dashboard. Let's go take a quick look at it. Gallagher. What do they do, George? What do they do? Are they an auction house? Or no, I'm confusing that with something else. But let this get booted up. Okay, while that's happening, I'll just get the market chart up. Lots of indications are filtering in over there. And the NQ has staved off a wholesale decline, but it's still in a sell signal state. So I'm just going to add a little bit of commentary over here. But I do sincerely think that we've got another low coming for us. I don't think, it's insurance, Don. Okay, thank you. Oh, PNC insurance. Oh, okay. All right. Understand, George. I understand. Okay, that makes sense. You're welcome, Michael, and thanks, Mark. Thanks. Let's go and get the analysis done on Gallagher real quick here, and make it relevant. So obviously done very well in the recent market move up on this week on the reversal, like the market, but it's that's the ES chart. That's why it looks so good. Okay, let's just get AJG over there. Let's get that filtered in on the daily chart as well. I didn't have that one symbol linked. The rest were. You can see the little blue symbol link. Okay, so incredible move, right? Enhanced by the market move overall. I'm just kind of getting it all digested in over here, and it's very difficult for me to say anything outside of, hey, is it a little overcooked? Because it's in breakout city across the board. There's no question about that. I want to just pull the chart back and get the history under my belt here. I'll just do it without any indications to begin with and just look at price pattern and volume profile. So location, I need to incorporate everything starting from the gap down here. I cannot have the histogram start any earlier than the gap down, because then it's going to include irrelevant price value. So what's the VPOC for this time? Let's just see if we can get that. So it's all the way down here. Just make sure I started it right. Yep. And now I'm going to want to get another volume profile histogram on screen. Actually, no, I can just use this. So the magnet is 255.70, George. It should slow down like it is. Obviously, it's moving up, but at a slower rate. It's up 3.5% on the day. Yesterday was 4.5% at close. The magnet will be this little node sticking out there. Just call it 255.50. That's what we're probably headed up to. And the question mark is, have we broken down trending structures that create the opportunity for up, up, and away? The answer there is also a yes. So I'm just getting it fully digested on my side, right? So basic stuff, right? We can force fit the line however we want. It usually is never a perfect one line thing. It's usually a channel. And even if we put the linear regression channel on, which is one of my favorite tools to encapsulate how things are moving, it's broken the top of the channel, back tested the overbelly of it, and launched up. The other thing so obviously, that's obvious. Let's get some of the things that might not be that obvious. And grabbing a Fibo retracement tool. Why? Because it's the lowest common denominator tool used by the machines and others, which makes it a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we've got the 38.2 retracement effectively in the mid to lower 252s. I've got a volume profile node at 255. So let's call it 252 to 255 is probably going to be where it stalls and then has to elect direction. I would probably want to look at it again once 252, 255 has been hit, because what can happen at this stage is it can have a much shorter consolidation period before it continues higher. And we after the gap down, we had one oscillation, two oscillations, and then a half of an oscillation and a drop, 2.5 in a sideways range, and then it broke down. We should see on the way back up, if it is robust, not more than one oscillation. So it could be hit the bullseye, which is really a zone, 252 to 255, oscillate in the full range, which is 65 down to 35. I doubt it would go all the way down to 35, but oscillate in a range around the bullseye zone of 52 to 55. And if it's one oscillation and it rips right back up to the top, it should break it, right? This is a breakdown of a late stage downtrend formation. It's a bottoming zone. We've got our initial bullish breakout. It's just like the slides that I brought up the other day, where the market makes 6 moves. It doesn't matter what time frame you look at it. It's 6 moves. Well, it mirror image opposite on the other side, but it's 6 standard moves the market makes over and over and over again. I'm trying to find the slide right now. I know you know it, George, but for the benefit of everyone else listening in, it's the same 6 moves over and over, right? You get a late stage downtrend, you go into a bottoming zone. You have the initial breakout as a trade, initial trend as a trade, kink in the curve, which is what I'm really describing at the 252 to 255 area, kink in the curve, and then expansion, right? Then expansion. I don't want to see a real consolidation formation at the area that we consolidated before, the 65 to 35 area. because we've risen right back up into it like a hot knife cutting through butter. And that should mean, we've already seen the bottoming zone, we've seen the bullish breakout, we've seen the initial bullish trend. We're headed into this kink in the curve, which I think happens in and around the 252 to 255 area, and we want to see a continuation and that expansionary move happen after that. Now, it doesn't seem to be that affected by the market correlation. So, that may make it a little bit of its own isolated microcosm to continue up. Final word on this is danger below 35, 37, extreme danger below 15. Right? I'll leave it right there. Okay. I hope that makes sense. And Ray, what are you saying? What is the sixth what? Six moves. Sorry about that. My apologies. Yeah. So we can have multiple rounds of consolidate and continue, right? So it can pull back and consolidate and then continue. Right. It depends on the rhythm and the nature of its past behavior that people are going to be looking at, and so the machines, and of course the nature of the market move that we're in as well, if it's correlated with markets, which most things are. And then at some point, how this was in a late stage downtrend, at some point we're in a late stage uptrend, and this became the topping process, right? We went sideways, right? We started to move. It's a late stage uptrend categorically. The bottom of the market was in October of 2022. This seemed to bottom prior to that in June of 2022. But that was Russia-Ukraine year, as folks may remember. And it's just been a monster since then, especially for this nature of company. So incredible performance. But it got into a late stage uptrend. It went down with the tariff tumble in 25. And this is that last move in a late stage uptrend that is described on this slide. Now, nothing is perfect, right? Everything is a degree of imperfection. But what I can say about these 6 market moves is it's time tested. You can go back and look at it. You just have to understand the rhythm of the actual security and its relevant cohort and things that it correlates to really get a robust idea. And I haven't done that work. I haven't compared it to like an insurance basket of ETFs, an ETF with a basket of insurers. I don't think we have time for that kind of stuff right now, but that would be the 6th move. There you go. Okay. And Bart, I haven't looked at SpaceX in a while. I'm over my time right now. And I've got a very short break before another appointment at 12. So I'm going to have to defer SpaceX to after the weekend. I hope that makes sense. Folks, I hope that you enjoyed, everything that you saw today. You saw some great trading. You saw some great calls and narrative. I hope that it hit the mark for you. And, the best way that I can end the session is the way that I started the session. We're in flight path B. We're in this part of the move. I don't know that we are going to see this drop in today's market. I don't know that. I don't know that it will happen for sure. It's likely to. Our market outlook has worked, like magic since the beginning of the week. I work with about a half dozen to sometimes a dozen flight paths, whittle it down to 2. We knew we were in flight path B on Monday. We got above the 74-75 line. We had our wobble in that area. Look at a 1-hour chart. You'll see it, categorically, it's right on point. We had the push up on Tuesday. We had the slowdown at the resistive structure after poking above, and that was the 75-55 line. We had the pullback yesterday. We had a push up and a pullback down. We had another push up today. We got to a higher high today, which was the expectation. And we've started to come down again, and there it is. So I hope that that's been useful to you, and I hope that the conversation that we've been having and the dialogue is becoming more and more clean and clear for you to understand. And of course, your feedback is what helps me with that. So when I go, hey, is it making sense? Are you doing all right? You're always welcome to go, hey, don't use that jargon, or I don't know what this means. And, put your questions in along the ride, which can, of course, be helpful to yourself and everyone else. All right, folks, that's it for me in our trading room this market morning. I hope everyone had a great morning overall. Looking very much forward to carrying the insights on and building them with you as we move through next week. But this will be the last morning session that I do for this week. I'm not going to be doing this type of session tomorrow. Markets will be ticking away until 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Futures open at 6 p.m. They should be going till 12 Central, 1 Eastern tomorrow. And, may the force be with you. If the market wants to heal here and come back up, it's got a lot of work to do. The NQ has to get back up and above really 30,300 to tell me that something is going to change. And obviously that's 500 points higher than where we are right now. There's lots of resistive structures along the ride. The hourly chart's in a sell signal state. It's the drag on risk sentiment, the NASDAQ is. And the rationale for the pop up earlier today, that depressed the dollar, strengthened the euro, is likely very temporary, as we've seen already during the day today. All right, folks. And I'll leave it right there. It looks like, I'm happy to hear it, Ray. And to everyone joining in today, give me a lucky number 7 in the chat if you're all good to go. If you've got yourself situated, I look forward to seeing you next time. And hey, looks like folks did well. Messages are received. Outlook is, I hope, very clear. And we'll leave it right there, folks. I am expecting the market to soften up again, but I don't think it has to be the breakdown day, right? Typically ahead of the holiday long weekend, it can hold itself up only to succumb to gravity on Sunday night. So we'll see. I would be very, very careful with swing longs. All right. It looks like folks are happy. I've seen the chats fly by now everywhere. So it looks like all are good. And I will be, Louis. I will be. Okay. Tanisha, you bettered your result. Well done. Well done. I'm super happy to hear it. All right, folks. We'll see you on the next one. Hope you had a great day with me and all of us together. Looking forward to more and continuing to deepen and build our relationship. Bye for now, all.